Hi, welcome to Stockin' Knit Zombies. I'm Amy, otherwise known as J-Knitma.
On Ravelry, and I'm Megan Williams, very inventive name there on Ravelry.
Should pick up my knitting.
Yeah, and this is our second episode, exciting, of the Stocking Knit Zombies. And I hope everybody out there had a wonderful Halloween. I saw a really cute Twitter about Halloween that said, "My ingenious wife has my children convinced that the tooth fairy takes a 30% tax of their candy, their Halloween candy overnight." And I thought that was very inventive. Either she was eating it or she just got rid of it so that their teeth didn't rot. So thank everybody out there for their wonderful feedback. We take everything to heart and just are amazed by the number of people that have already watched our first episode. It's just amazing to me.
I was blown away, and my husband was too. He was like, "Really? Like, people know where you are already and are watching?"
Yeah.
And so, like, somehow word spread, and we got a few people watching.
My husband's like, "Is it a bunch of old ladies?" I'm like, "No, by and large, I think it's moms, and not that there's anything wrong with older ladies watching us, right? But it's just like, it's not just, knitting. I don't know. He just thinks knitting is, it's just a bunch of old ladies, I guess. So.
Stereotyping.
Yep. So we are breaking that mold by coming up with names like Stocking Knit Zombies and knitting fun, fashionable things. So I know October was Socktober, and I was thinking, is there anything in November for knitting? And I saw on a blog today there is, I don't know how you would say it, Wovember. It's supposed to be like 100% wool month.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if there's any knit-alongs for that, or if you're encouraged, like maybe it's a spinning thing.
Oh yeah, could be. We don't spin.
Yeah, I've never spun.
But spun.
Yeah.
Spin.
What do you say about spinning? You're gonna save that for
retirement. Yep.
Yeah.
It's gonna be my retirement hobby. I'm gonna, go out shopping for my wheel when I retire, and then I'll have more time to work on it, and I don't want to save too much stash. I have plenty of stash, so all that roving that everybody shows, I'm like, okay, I can't, nope, no more,
Yeah.
It would just be one more big hobby to take on, and I'm going to try and avoid it as long as possible. We'll see if I make it to retirement, but I'm going to try.
Yeah. I mean, it looks fantastic. It looks like you could just do some amazing things. I'm not quite there yet. I enjoy buying it already made for me and ready to be knit. A couple of shout outs from our Ravelry group and podcast followers. Let me get this right. Our first introduction on the introduction thread, other than us two, was Laura Mag, and she is from Wales, the United Kingdom, and I would love to find out, Laura, how you found us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're our first follower and our member, and then you don't even know us. In fact, you're like probably the farthest away of anyone. So that's just amazing to me. What else? Thank you for Knitting's My Bag for plurking about us. Seems like that got our name out there quite a bit.
Yes, and now we're on Plurk.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like Plurk. It's a little more, I don't know. It's just easier than Twitter to see like what everybody has said,
okay, yeah.
And what who's replying to what, instead of just following like @reply tos on Twitter.
Okay.
So
yeah, I guess you need to compare it to Twitter, because I logged on thinking of it more like Facebook, and it was really hard to follow, but I'm getting there, and I'm enjoying it, but I have not tweeted, so plurking will be a new experience for me. But I am also J-Knitma out there as well, so that I didn't confuse anybody.
And I've been doing the Stocking Knit Zombies one, so that's not necessarily coming from both of us. It's just coming from me at this point. And then one last shout out. I wanted to say hi to another Amy, who is the Patchwork Bumblebee, and she is a stay-at-home mom, and it warmed my heart what she put about how that her husband works, 70 to 80 hours a week, and podcasts and Ravelry are her connection to the knitting world because she can't get out of the house. And it just made me feel like we had this circle here of folks on the other side of that camera, and we're just sitting around knitting, having a conversation. So hi, Amy, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. It made me smile and made me feel like we're giving back to the knitting community. So with that, we can actually get into the you are gonna do some finished objects. Yep, we're gonna mix things up.
Yeah, we're gonna stick with that. Everybody who commented about us doing it first. I'm excited to show what I've gotten done in the week, and I usually do smaller projects, so Megan, you'll see a lot of her progress on her. This thing is insane. It's 1 week of progress, but we'll get to that later. I'm going to start with my little owl puff. Now this is from Retro Lemon, did the pattern. It's just called Owl Puff. And I used the Dancing Dog Dye Works yarn again. And then
and do you have to have the puff pattern, or is that a separate pattern? Oh no, this isn't the Hexie puff. It's just a owl puff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just an owl puff. That's what she named it.
And how much do you weigh your yarn at all? Do you know how much of it took?
No.
No? Okay.
Not exactly.
Again, that's just anal retention. Yes. At the end of my projects, I weigh all my leftovers and remainders and figure out how much of the skein
I would have to weigh
took.
it when it starts, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do.
No. I didn't do that.
We're like the odd couple of knitting.
Jeez.
Sorry. It's important to know.
Well, and my mom was here this weekend, and she brought this book, and it was a lot of little crafty things, and one of them was God's eyes. And I remember doing these when I was a kid, but I hadn't done one recently. And I remember as a kid, I didn't like the square ones. I thought they were kind of dumb, but now when you make it a little hex, I think it's really cute. So
that yarn is like perfect for it as well.
Yeah, this is the same thing I knit the owl out of. I think it's something Stars and Jake Stars. I apologize for not knowing the exact name. It's one of the longer colorway names. And I am doing ornaments, so that's why I have a lot of small things. And here's my Cocoa Monster. This is a Rebecca Danger pattern, and it's a little sock yarn monster. And just, comparison size-wise on my hand. But I got a feeling. Yeah.
So that's out of fingering then?
Yep. Little sock yarn. And Christmas colors. And then my big project, is fingerless gloves. So I'm going to slip them on real quick. These are the Poet mitts from the Wendy Knits Lace book. And there they are.
And what are they out of?
This is Dream in Color.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what color it is. I got it a while ago, and I did make some stuff out of it, but I lost the ball band, so I don't remember what color it is. And it doesn't look to me like any color that they have on the website right now. So if anybody knows,
and these are for
they
you?
could post. Sure. I knit them mainly because they were simple, and they went with my nerd Team Unity project for Nerd Wars, because it's lacy.
Yeah, and it almost looks crochet-like. I don't know if you can tell in the detail, but I mean it's fairly dense through here, but with some holes.
So do my Vanna.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they were super quick, and I used half of the ball for a sock head hat, and this used less than half of that half that was left. So I'd say about 120 yards.
See, now if you weighed it. And your husband brews just like mine. You can use that same scale that he weighs all of his grain on. So
yes, our husbands brew beer.
Yes.
So if you have other women out there that are have brewers for husbands, But I was thinking we should call like Matt could be the runner.
My husband would be the biker.
The biker.
The biker.
Just how they get their exercise, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Their current obsessions. But I guess your husband's had the biking obsession since birth. I think.
Yeah. Well, his dad introduced him to doing the Register's annual bike ride across Iowa, RAGBRAI. And so I snuck in my own little finished object from a year ago by wearing the traveling sweater today, because I don't have any. Because when I do garments, I'm not going to have a finished object every week, but I can wear a past finished object, I guess.
No, but you're going to see the progress she's made in 1 week, and you're going to be sick. You're going to be sick. I mean, like, I cannot make this much progress on anything. I mean, I thought I made pretty good progress on this. And
you did good. I mean, considering all the other things that you've got going on. I mean,
That's
I just
true.
figure that with my attention all turned towards one project, it's they go pretty fast. So,
Did you want to...
do you want to? I could get to an end of a row if you wanted to talk about your whips.
Oh, okay. So I decided to show you some of the socks this time around. I left one pair of socks at work. I usually knit on them during conference calls. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, I don't know. That's controversial to me, because some people are like, oh gosh, knitting, you're not even paying attention. I'm like, I'm paying attention more than if I'm out on the internet or, answering
Working
somebody
a problem,
else.
yeah.
We're answering somebody else's email or working a problem. I'm paying way more attention because I can listen very well while I'm knitting.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does open my ears, especially on those calls where you can't see anybody, you can only hear them, and you're sitting in front of your computer, and it's so tempting to just go check some email or work a problem real quick. We're both in computers, so I just like working with my hands, keep my mind open to listening to the call, and I think that I am more attentive when I do that. But they got left at work, so. But I do have others. So this is a cuff I haven't worked on in a long time, but it's from the Cookie A Sock Club.
Yeah.
So the yarn is Blue Moon Fiber Arts Goody Two Shoes or something, or Goody Goody. And then the pattern was like something yarn over. I need to look it up. It was earlier pattern, so not a recent one.
So Amy and I were talking about the Cookie A Sock Club, and I've absolutely loved the patterns. I've loved the recipes, and the yarn. We got some of the Soulmate before it came out. Like they introduced that through Cookie A Sock Club, and that was very neat. But I haven't knit a sock pattern yet, so it's coming up. I think November 9th is when you have to renew if you're an existing sock club member. And I'm just like on the fence, like, I haven't knit any of the patterns. I love them, but I haven't knit any of them yet. So should I shelve out that money again for patterns that I'm probably not gonna? I guess I could have a redo of 2011 and just
follow along.
Yeah.
Do the other
with the previous, from the previous. But
I don't know. I've knit like 4 of them out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you get 2 a month, so it's 2 a shipment.
Yeah.
So we actually have 10 right now, and I've knit 4 out of the 10, or started 4 out of the 10. I really like them. I was really happy when we got the sport weight one. I went crazy, and I did a bunch of those. It went gangbusters, and so I started a bunch. But I only finished 1. And I don't know. I already signed up. So I'm on there. 2012. Sign me up. I'm ready.
And then if I don't, then she's going to show me all the wonderful things that I missed out on. So that's probably going to be my motivation.
I'm not going to share those awesome recipes either.
You're going to make the cookies and you're going to bring them to the podcast.
There you go. That's what we'll do. I'll make the cookies and I'll be, look, Megan, aren't these yummy cookies? And then not let her have any. Because I'm mean like that. And then this is trekking, just a plain top-down ribbing, make it up as you go along, sock for my stepdad in trekking bamboo.
And you said he was a very good recipient, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
every time I mention, or talk about knitting, or I'm there at the house, he says, well, there was this one time I was out hunting and I stepped in some water and my feet were warm the whole rest of the day. And, so he loves them, and he always talks about them. He always talks them up. I remember one Christmas when I had just happened to give him the socks at that time, and we were at a big family gathering. Like, every time I was eavesdropping, he was talking about the socks he just got. So, obviously a worthy recipient. And I'll just hold up my first last here. This is the Good Deal that I'm working on for the Loopy challenge. And I guess what I'll show you is my progress is noted in these little stitch markers here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think I get to place one more, so that'll be 5, and I have to do 7 repeats, and then I'm done. So I'm going to check the length, because I don't think it's going to be too short when I get there.
Mine is really short, and I did extra. It's
Okay.
in my notes, but it's still really short, and I blocked it, and it's still really short. So, yeah.
Well, and I bought the 3 skeins, so I can totally do as long as I want.
Yeah.
I know you said you got away with 2 skeins.
Yeah.
So
the cool thing about this design is that you knit it, and it gets really wide in the front, and then you end up making a pocket by flipping it over.
yeah, so it's gonna flip over, and then this will be where your pocket is down here.
So it's like a inverted little pocket there, and then there's an I-cord edging right here, which I thought was really neat, but I messed up once, and it took me like an hour to figure out how to get the, like some stitches got dropped, and to pick up that edge and get all the things flipped right to make it that I-cord edging again was very hard for me for some reason.
I noticed that I didn't slip one of the stitches, and I tinked back and fixed it because I'm anal on that edging.
If you make a mistake and you realize it and you could have fixed it, it bothers me. Like, every time I pick up the thing, I'm like, oh God, look at that spot. I can totally tell. Somebody else is going to be able to, nobody else would be able to tell. But because I know it's there, my eye is just that right into it.
And your whip,
yes,
you started after we filmed the podcast.
I did.
So it's been 1 week on this, and she's got this much progress.
Amy sounds like my mom, doesn't she? She's like so proud of me. And that Megan, she had, look at this whip of hers. But it's bottom up, bottom down. Boy, that would be an interesting cardigan. Bottom down. So actually the direction is, this is the top. But it's Alexis Winslow. And I'm going to review an article in Knit Scene about her. She's the next big thing. And it's really neat, because basically you make a shawl triangle, and you made another shawl triangle. And thanks for reminding me that I need to hold it up.
they're looking at the purl side, so you want to...
Yep. And then you join them together, and then you follow that W until you get to right here for the arms. So very, very neat and innovative design, and I just loved how it's come together. Like, every time I hold it up, I'm kind of like, oh, that's neat, because the direction of the knitting, it's stocking knit that I'm knitting, but the direction that I'm knitting is not, when I wear it, is not going to be that at all. Yeah,
on the bias.
It's going to be on the bias. So very, very neat design. I would definitely recommend it. And I went up a size. I normally would do like the 32, but I went up to a 36 because it calls for Knit Picks Capra, which is a DK, and this is a sport weight. So I kept the needle size the same, but went up the stitch count to hopefully make some positive ease for it. So that is my work in progress.
I was kind of sad to see she started it, because I did have that on my queue before you did. and I, we might have found it at the same time.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, look, it's cute. And it's stripy, and so, of course, she's,
Yeah, and why I had, last time, I had, my contrast color wasn't contrasting with my main color, so the green grasshopper, I believe, was the colorway, was not contrasting with tern. So, do you want to do book reviews next?
Sure.
Or do we want to talk about yarn acquisitions?
I didn't bring yarn acquisitions.
Yeah, I bought some yarn, but I have nothing to show for
it. Order.
Yeah, Madeline Tosh, I'm a huge Madeline Tosh junkie. You just say that name and I get a little like, oh, I need my fix. Had a fall clearance. So the day before her fall clearance, which was last Friday, I had bought some DK Twist, which is a new yarn base of hers, which is 100% merino, just to get my hands on it. I believe I got like, it's Silver Fox, I believe it is. Yeah, it's a very pretty colorway. And then the next day, she has her fall clearance, and it was like, I believe Leslie in Knit Girl said that she went in claws up for for a certain yarn that she wanted. It was insane. Like, I had signed out into PayPal, and I'm waiting for something to get posted in the Etsy shop, and it would come up, and I'd add it to my cart, and I'd click, and I'd go, and by the time that I'd gotten clicked, and granted, this is at work, so I'm on a really fast line. It's not dial-up by any means. It was gone. Like, it was like, you cannot buy 4 skeins of this, you can only buy 1. I'm like, there were 20 skeins 15 seconds ago. But 20% off of Madeline Tosh is pretty fantastic. So, I stalked that website. That was my Friday. Don't tell anybody at work. But I got a couple of other DK Twist colorways that I'll have to show you, and hopefully will be knit up into something fun. And I just got shipment notice. I joined the Madeline Tosh Magnolia Sweater Club, which is a very neat club. It's not a surprise like the Cookie would be. You know what yarn base you're getting. You know, you get to pick the color that you're getting, and you also pick the size. So I'm getting the small, so I'm getting 5 skeins of vintage sari in the 80-10-10 MCN, which is 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, and that's worsted. And then the part that I'm really excited about is not this month, in December, I believe, you get Tosh Chunky, which is a new base of theirs. And I'm very excited about that. And then the one that I'm just like,
I want this.
I had to sign up for the club because of this, Pashmina worsted in January, no, in February, because it's every other month. So it's October and then December and then February. So yeah, it was, I did the math, and because I got 5, 6, and 5, so that's 6, 5, and 6. So I got 17 skeins. I did the math, and it ended up being about $22 a skein, which isn't bad if you consider shipping.
It's exclusive too. I mean, for a while.
And I got to pick the colors. Her other club, or the company's other club, you didn't get to choose. You got to choose like jewel tones or. And so I got some colors that were very similar to yarn that I already had. And I was kind of like, oh, bummer. I mean, they're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but this was nice because you got to pick your colors. So I'll have some of that to show as well.
Since you're talking about this fictional yarn that you haven't gotten yet, I might as well mention that I ordered the Royal collection from 3 Irish Girls. She,
let's just talk about all of our yarn purchases. In the future, I will buy
3 skeins of this random new colorway. Well, it was this big deal, I guess. The Norwegian Queen and King came to Duluth, and
they came to Rochester, I believe.
Right, but they were in Duluth, where 3 Irish Girls is based, and she specially dyed up Duluth-themed colorways. And I guess, and they were only on her website for 5 or 6 days, and then she took them down. So I figured I better grab them before I get jealous of everybody running around with these colorways. So there's 3 of them that I bought, and one of them I did get a sweater's worth in the worsted.
You?
I did. And 2 things of socks.
Is it going to be a garment or a bunch of hats and other accessories?
We shall see.
We shall see.
It might be just a coveted de-stash that somebody gets for me, because I just couldn't resist. I mean, and it was the only one that really lent itself to a large garment. You know, everything else was a little too busy.
Yeah. You look at it and it ends up being one of those things that makes your eyes go.
Yeah. So, but my other acquisition that I can show you is that I found this cute little bag on Etsy.
Such adorable.
And I love all the little guitars, and it reminded me of the SSK Super Summer Knit Away that is going to be in Nashville next year. Ooh. And I get to go. I'm excited. And the shop owner is Ocean Patch. So Ocean Patch on Etsy, and she had several different styles, but this was my favorite one for size, and
that's a great size.
It's fully lined, no open seams. It's really nice. Ocean Patch Creations on the label.
Yeah, I use the heck out of. I think this is what is this?
A pin loop?
Yeah, this is a pin loop. I use the heck out of it because I do all kinds of garments.
I guess so if we wanted to compare it to the pin loop.
Yeah, it's taller and the same width.
Yeah, it's a little taller, slightly, and the width is a little different. I think I'm only at 2.5, and you're at 3 inches. I don't know. Very close in size.
And reasonably priced?
I think with shipping and everything, this might have been under 30. So
yeah, that's cheaper than the Pillow Plus.
So I think maybe even closer to 27. So highly recommend. It was a good purchase. This little thing kind of comes off every once in a while, but I haven't had it do it recently, and it's a good pull. It doesn't have the little Pitaloop tags on the side where you can grab, which is nice, but I thought that at least having the strap on the zipper helped. And I think that that's all I have for acquisitions. I wasn't planning on talking about 3 Irish Girls, but
let's talk about. I still can't get over your future purchases here.
I plan on purchasing.
Yes, it will be a beautiful colorway. I know it will. Okay, so book reviews. I love book reviews. I if anything, patterns are. I have 200 things in my queue.
Oh God!
All of which I have patterns for, and I have the yarn to do them. So
200.
200. I mean, I'm not saying that if I took the yarn from one queued item that I wouldn't be stealing it from another, but I'm just saying they at any time could go, which is why I really like knit-alongs, because they help me in my decision making. Yes, I can sit at that 200 and go, what am I gonna knit now? So that next I'm doing, although I don't think I have enough time now, the Love in the Mommyhood, I believe, is a blogger that I follow, and she's doing a cowl knit along, which would be pretty fast. I could churn that out pretty quickly. But it's November 9th is the deadline for the knit along, so I don't know that I'll be able to do it. So, all right, books. This is, I guess not a book, it's a magazine. It's Knit Scene Winter 2011, and it's got some patterns that I really like in it, but I really enjoyed the article about Alexis Winslow. There she is, young gal. I should point this out to my husband. Look, an attractive gal younger than me that's a knitter. And one of the quotes in here that I just absolutely love is there's just something about knitting stripes that makes you want to do just one more, which is what I attribute a lot of my progress on this to, because it's like, oh, I want to get to that gray stripe. There's only 24 rows in between, you know. So, and she has a great story, so I would recommend, I believe she's Mother of Pearl out on Ravelry, and when I queued this up for the Loopy Challenge, she was out there and commented on my yarn choice and said, you know, oh, that's going to be beautiful. So she's really interactive and active out on Ravelry. So that's an interesting article. And then she has a Zelda Cloche hat that I really liked, that I thought was a cute pattern, contrasting color there. There's probably a bigger picture somewhere. This is the actual patterns. And then Carol Feller has the Ragby cardigan. It's on page 40. Let me actually get the big
here.
Yeah, well, and that's not a much better one. A picture of it that I really like. I'm a huge cardigan knitter, and so the design features on that are that it looks like the lapel has some interesting stuff. So you probably have, again, I'm pointing at things and looking at it, and you guys can't see, but have some plain stocking knit over here where you can become a zombie. And then you've got the lapel that would be kind of interesting. And then the article was also about how if you knit the same pattern in a worsted weight versus a lace weight, the different type of drape that you get. So this is by Stephanie Japel, the Nevis cardigan, which I really like. I'm going to just kind of rotate around here in case I don't get the top and the bottom. But I've got a lot of, as we talked about last time, Woolmy's lace weight yarn that I think that this would be a cute version of. And then the Uxbridge cardigan, and I am really bad on pronouncing non-English American names, but it's Kyoko Nakayoshi is the Uxbridge cardigan, and that looks like it's got some interesting detail down at the bottom that I really liked. So I actually signed up for the Knit Scenes auto ship. They don't have like a subscription, not prescription, a prescription for knitting that you can sign up for, but you can sign up for this auto ship and they ship it to you. Although I think I might start getting the digital.
I've been thinking about that too. I'm supposed to be signed up for another 2-year subscription to Interweave, and I think it's the paper edition, but I haven't received anything recently, so I'm assuming that the winter's coming, and if I do end up getting it, then I guess I'll leave it alone. But if there's a mess up and I don't end up getting it, then I'm gonna cancel and sign up for the digital. Because right when I sent in the check is when they announced their digital, and I'm like, oh, yeah, no, because I'd much rather just download it to my tablet and
rather than managing all the paper. Yep. And you've got little kids just like me that might do something to it or scribble on it or cut it off or so.
They've stayed pretty safe so far. I'm just I don't like carrying a lot of bulk around with me, but if I can carry just that one thing and have what I want to look at, because sometimes I don't know, a geek. Like, isn't it Albus Dumbledore from Harry Potter that says he reads Muggle knitting patterns because they're very interesting? Like, I think I read that in one of the Harry Potters, and I thought that was just so cute, and now I read knitting patterns because they're so interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to knit that, but I want to see how they did it, kind of thing.
Do you think someday that might parlay into designing?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. I tried to design a shawlette or something, and I got like this far in like swatching it, and then I don't know, put it down and did some actual knitting. Like, to me, swatching wasn't actual knitting for a while there. I did do a couple swatches for other things, and I'm slowly progressing to where I might like choose to swatch for design purposes.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the closest I get would be like, oh, I really like this, lace weight or this pattern, and I'm going to put that on the top of a sock. Or I really like this pattern, and I'll put it on I have an effortless cardigan that basically you could have done anything for the collar portion rather than what was on there. So it's like doing substitutions for plain stocking knit or ribbing is about as close as I've gotten. So, and then my next book review is Wendy Bernard's Custom Knits 2. I absolutely loved her first one, and so I picked this up. The first one is that I marked is the favorite hoodie. Wonderful pictures, wonderful ideas about how to customize, thus the name Custom Knits. And hopefully it doesn't get too quiet when I put the book in front of the camcorder, because I'm talking with it, holding it up there.
Camcorder.
But it's funny, I just mentioned that, sorry. Well, what do you call it? A digital video recorder? Camcorder is just easier. It's funny I just mentioned the Effortless Cardi, because this is basically the Effortless Cardi by Hannah Fateg with a hood on the back. So I've got this but without the hood, but I thought it was really cute. And as in the first one, they've got a make it your own section after all of them. This one is called Ribbon, and I think that it would be very interesting to knit because it's not just stocking knit, and it's got some waves, and I'm all about things waving and moving.
I think I knit the one in the first book that looks like that. I don't remember the name of it, but like just a basic shell like that one with the square top.
Yep. Bijou. It looks like they styled it very well, that it looks kind of like a swimming cover-up. But it's got some, is that argyle? Some crossways diamonds in it, which I thought was interesting. I've got lots of them marked here. The Holden jacket.
Oh my goodness, you do have a lot marked. You show them the whole book.
And this one, yeah, this one is in the he said, she said, say that 5 times fast section of the book, so you can also modify it. Have you ever put a zipper in anything? It's very intimidating to me. I'm like, oh, I'd never be able to put a zipper into something. This one's zigzag, and I don't know if that lady has a bra on, but or a modesty shell or what, but it looks like you could see a nipple if you were looking hard enough. Maybe in that close-up right there, you guys got to see a nipple. I'll have to mark this podcast as risky.
Just ask your husband; he'll find it.
I like it, but I don't. You'd have to wear something underneath it. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And then I think this is the one you were thinking of. This is Wasabi. And to me, it just looks like a long sleeve version of Jewel, which I think is what you did.
Yeah, I knit the Jewel, but similar shaping as the other shell that's in the book. So.
Yep. And I really liked that. And then I was just going to comment that the back has a really great section about patternless patterns. So she's got a section here about top-down, round yoke formulas, which is probably about the closest I would get to designing a garment at this point in my knitting career. But it's a good book, and just as a disclaimer, none of the things that I've brought up here we've been paid to talk about Madeline Tosh or any of these books. They were things that we purchased and love or don't like.
Yeah, nobody sent them to us like some podcasters.
Yep. So
I'm teasing, but we're on episode 2. Maybe somebody's watching and they'll send us something.
And that is my book reviews for the week.
I had mine set on the floor. Mine is going to be the Little Red in the City, and I know we're doing a lot right now, so maybe I could have saved some of these. But I bought this because the Knit Girls had reviewed it, and I really like Ysolda's patterns. I have a few of them, and just the digital copies. And another thing that kind of sold me on it is that I haven't done it yet, but in the back you can scratch off and get the digital copy, so that I don't have to haul this book around if I decide to do one of the sweaters in it. I can just have the digital copy. or maybe just print out a few pages and write on it.
I was going to mention that in my book review, sorry to step on yours, that I got Coastal Knits, that book, and that's been reviewed all over the place, so I'm not going to bring it up here. But I really liked that promotion, that if you pre-ordered it, you got the digital copy of that Rocky Coast cardigan that I showed last week. And so I had that knit before the book was even out. I just really liked that promotion, that you kind of got us some starter patterns, and I think it's probably going to be one of their more popular patterns from the book. So
yeah, I pre-ordered the West Knit book 3, and there's another delay in it, and they're going to be another 3 weeks out. But Stephen was on the forums today saying that he might release a few of them digitally to us as pre-order people. So we might get a few of the patterns. I don't know which ones, but we might get a few of the patterns before the book comes out. But only for the pre-ordered digital copy people. I get the paper copy too, but it was one of those buy one, get the other kind of deals. Okay, so my favorite things from this book, besides, the reasons that I purchased it, reviewed by the Knit Girls, I thought they did a really good job of covering everything that was in it, so maybe you can look for their episode for a more in-depth review. But just some things that I noticed about it when I was reading it that I thought was a little different than what the Knit Girls had said. So, this swatching section had really inspired me to actually do some more swatching, and maybe it's not for something that I'm going to knit, but just anything that interests me, maybe swatch it up, take a look at it, play with it, get inspiration for doing something else. So, and they also had this handy little tip in here about putting little yarn overs and purl bumps in there to tell you what size needles you used when you swatched it. So if you have it cast aside and you pick it up a month later, you know which needle size you used.
That's a good idea.
And I thought that the measurements section was really nice, well thought out, detailed, and it even came with a section to write your own measurements in. Let's see, and then I just thought I'd mention some of the patterns that I thought I might do. So there's a vest.
Pretty vest.
Yeah, I really like it. It's on the back cover of the book, and a lot of the modification sections in this book, how to modify things, are for busty women. So if you're a busty gal, this book is actually a really good sweater class on how to modify things to fit you better. I'm not as busty, so I didn't find that whole section very useful for me, but I know that if you really need to mod things so that they're not pulling right here on your bust line, it was really in-depth, had a lot of the math that you need to do to modify things. And I love this. What do they call it? The Kriya. Or Kriya. It's really cute. I love that it's got a garter stitch on the top and then mostly stockinette. Here's a good picture.
Is it a unique construction?
It's pieced. I don't know that it's that unique. I haven't read the pattern either. I just went on looks on this one.
Yeah.
And it had a short sleeve and a long sleeve version.
It's got some buttons down at some button detail down at the sleeve, which is pretty.
So I really liked that. And then my last little thing here was the hoodie. So when I have miles and miles of stockinette zombie, this one will do it.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was simple and just looked like a forever timeless type of sweater. And you wouldn't necessarily have to do the little tabs that they have, the little button tabs. It's cute. It makes it more of a little Red Riding Hood type of look and feel. But if you wanted to do clasps or closures or, just you could play with it and do a lot of different things. But it's a little hoodie. And that's it for book reviews.
Yep.
My mother-in-law came to town and you don't need to know this except that she's a librarian, and she found me a copy of a book that I already have. So when we get our membership numbers up, this might be one of the first things we give away. And I'll just point out one of the things, I tabbed it here, that I knit in this. I did the spider web right there, and I did the half. So it's a hex shawl, and I did the half hex. But it's a really nice coffee table book, and if you knit shawls, this has got a lot of really pretty shawls, and I will get to knitting more of them. And again, this is an extra copy, so I'm not giving away mine, and thanks to my mother-in-law. So we will have a nice book. This might cost a little bit to send.
Ship, yeah.
It's hefty. It's a nice hardback, and it's in good shape. It was donated to her library, and she scooped it up in their book sale for me. So that's it. That's all I had.
Okay. The only other thing I was going to ask you about, because it's November, and for some reason in November I think about Christmas. As a knitter, I should probably be thinking about it in October.
Sure, yeah.
But do you often knit folks things for Christmas? No, yes, maybe?
I've knit my mom like scarves and gloves and hats and things, but I think that all of my deserving folks have already gotten a lot of hand knit stuff from me.
Yeah.
And so I'm running out of extra things, you know, like, oh, I can knit her another hat, another pair of socks, another scarf. But
yeah,
I've kind of hit all of the major people in my life with hand knits. So I think it's just going to be more when I see a pattern and I like it and I want to knit it for them, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
And I won't really save it for Christmas.
Then you don't have a deadline. That's probably smart. I was just going to bring it up because I printed this out. Sorry, where did it go? Sherry at the Loopy U had holiday knitting as cowls. She recommended them, and I thought she had some really great points. She said that cowls are something that most people don't buy for themselves, partly because people don't really see them in the store, which I thought, you know, I don't really see cowls anywhere.
They've been very popular.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Okay. The past 2 years or so, you've seen them in the malls and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, long ones, the infinity scarf, as they call them in the mall. But I've also heard people like, oh, do you knit those for men? And I'm like, oh, I've heard gator. They call them gaiters for men. So if you want to knit your man a gaiter,
then it will be cool. It won't be a cowl.
It's not a cowl. It's a gaiter. and they sell them in sporting goods stores and stuff. It's a cowl.
Yeah. And then her other points are they're pretty quick and easy. Most of them take just about one skein of yarn, and it's a fun way to try out some stitch patterns. So I was thinking about, and maybe it could be one of our first knit-alongs. I've got tons of cardigans, free cardigans that have beautiful stitch patterns on them in my queue. Taking, you know, those stitch patterns and making, you know, cowls out of them. So like an Adiz cowl, or what's another one that I have that just, it has beautiful cable work that I think would look beautiful. It's not coming to me. But if anybody's interested in looking at that with me, we could probably start a discussion board and start talking about it. But we have probably gone well over where we were last week.
Well, we had like 3 books to review this time. I think that'll probably slow down and it won't be as long next time. But
and we probably should not talk about fictional yarn.
Exactly. Yarn that we can't even show you because it's not here yet.
And I just wanted to point out that we took all of your comments to heart. So we have a halogen light behind us that we can't even point at us because it's so hot. My husband's like, you won't even be able to point it at you. I'm like, whatever, we got to have it bright. And I am like almost sweating here. I'm not going to be able to wear my cheater finished objects for these things because, whoo, I'm getting warm with these lights on me. So,
I guess mentioning the KALs, I'm going to be on the Rebecca Danger blog. They're doing a critter knit along for November. They do one every month. It's been voted on. It's a critter. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I like to participate in that one. So if people want to join me on that one, and then maybe post about what you decided to do out on our board as well. We're trying to generate discussion on the board because we just have our 2 lonely threads out there right now.
Yeah.
And I had thought of something while you were talking, but it left.
Next week.
Yeah. We'll get to it.
And we still haven't decided on our sign off.
No.
So
happy knitting.
Yeah, happy knitting. You betcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did notice that if I say show, it's very northern.
Yeah. It creeps in. Minnesota is about the most Minnesotan thing I say. I find myself saying Minnesota. So.
Yeah. But I did notice that I had show coming out a little bit more Minnesotan than other people. And maybe it was subtle. I don't know that everybody picked up on it, but I was like, oh, I can hear it.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. So
yep.
Thanks for joining us, and happy knitting.
Happy knitting. See you next week.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.